Hello all, welcome to yet another brand new day to talk about another interesting person under Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav story series from Momish Musings. Yesterday we met Queen Dida all the way up from Kashmir, right? Today let us move down, completely down to Kerala to meet another interesting king with from Kerala. Without this king, we would have been speaking in Dutch today. Interesting, isn't it? This king is a person who has put brakes to the Dutch expansion within India. Surprising, isn't it? Come, let us go ahead and meet this person from 17th century. Let us go back to the 17th century in the Indian history pages. He is none other than the Marthanda Verma, who is the forgotten Kerala king. Some of you who are aware or active on the social media, who keep following the newspapers, would associate King Marthanda Verma's name with the Padmanabha Swamy temple's treasure. Recently, when we found out huge treasure in the Padmanabha Swamy temple, King Marthanda Verma's name came out on the social media and on all the newspapers because he's a person who is responsible for storing so much treasure in the Padmanabha Swamy temple. But there is more to him rather apart from this Padmanabha Swamy temple, its treasure, and how he became a Dasa of Padmanabha Swamy and all that stuff. There is a bigger area in his life from which every fellow Indian should learn something other than. As- uh, So now let us dive into his life history to understand how King Marthanda Verma grew to this place, why we need to learn certain life lessons from him. But before I well into King Marthanda Verma's life history, let me explain you a little bit about the political situation in during 17th century in India. During 17th century, that is after Chola dynasty has got disintegrated, I mean Chera dynasty, not Chola, Chera dynasty got disintegrated in Kerala, the entire Kerala got subdivided into multiple small kingdoms. They might not be even bigger than one city in the current modern India, but still, there are so many kings and queens who are ruling the Kerala area. And at that point of time, matriarchal system was in place in Kerala. And the entire Kerala region supremacy was being distributed between the management board of Anantha Padmanabha Swamy Temple and one dynasty called Palliyar dynasty. And this dynasty people are the ones who are called the eight pillars of the Kerala region. And these people, along with the management board from the Anantha Padmanabha Swamy temple, wanted to have the supremacy over the entire Kerala region. And they also wanted to abolish the matriarchal system within the Kerala. And our hero, Marthanda Verma, was born to a small king in Travancore region, especially near the Kolachal and Tiruvenadu region, closer to Padmanabha Swamy temple area. Okay, and this is the political scenario at that point of time. And let us also understand a little bit about the Dutch people, how Dutch came into India, so that you'll get the complete picture as to towards the King Marthanda Verma. Dutch people started invading. Started doing business using their huge naval base with all the East and Southeast Asian countries, so that they can get more and more money. After Dutch Revolution, when their economic situation is really poor, the only strength which Dutch people had is their naval base. They use that naval base to start operating businesses from the Southeast Asian countries. And by 17th century, Dutch has actually got supremacy over different ports in India, like Surat in Gujarat, then Cochin, then Chennai, Pondicherry, and then Orissa, Bengal, all this area, Travancore area, and Kerala, Ceylon, everything. And they were also doing business with Malaysia, Thailand, and all the other Southeast Asian countries. Their entire Dutch base is concentrated in Ceylon and the Travancore areas. That is the reason why I told Travancore in the last. Because they are powerful majors and powerful army battalions and the naval ships were based out of Travancore and Ceylon areas. And this is the time when, during the 17th century, King Marthanda Verma was born to the Travancore dynasty king and queen. As I already mentioned, it's a very small kingdom, and there were a lot of life threats to Marthanda Verma as a child itself. Because of this Palaya dynasty and other kings and of the smaller kingdoms in Kerala, everybody was trying to take the life of the potential strong rulers who can become very good rulers. So always in the Kerala region, there was a huge threat for the life of the prince and princesses of various kingdoms. Same is the case with King Marthanda Verma as well. But he was hidden from all the public view during his crucial childhood days in a far off place. And then then he was brought to Travancore palace. The moment he came back to Travancore Palace, he started observing all the political happenings in and around his region, and he was always trying to tell something or ask a lot of questions to his parents and his maternal uncles. Uh, as he entered the teenage years, there was a very interesting episode that happened in Marthanda Verma's life. One day he went out for hunting or something in the Kerala forest in his area, in the Travancore area, and he was being hunted down by the hunters appointed by his enemy kings who are out there only to take his life. They were chasing him on horses as well. So you know how thick the Kerala forests are, isn't it? So he was trying to escape through the thick jungles, but still he couldn't. And the day was getting longer and longer. And he's just a teenage boy. He was getting tired as well. That is the time, out of nowhere, he saw a small boy stand in front of his house. That boy asked him to follow him. And then when Marthanda Verma followed this boy, that boy showed Marthanda Verma a burrow in a huge tree and asked him to come along with him to sit in that burrow, because it was also becoming cloudy and thunder started coming up. So there are chances that there might be very huge heavy rain that might come up pretty soon. So Marthanda Verma has to anyway take shelter. He's also tired, so Marthanda Verma agreed to this boy's words and he went down the burrow along with this boy. But the moment he went into the burrow, the boy got disappeared. And Marthanda Verma couldn't really understand the logic behind it, but he slept off because he was in a very tired state. He woke up the next day morning and searched for that boy nearby the tree. That boy couldn't be found anywhere anyway, because it became light and his enemies were not there. He went back to his palace. That day night, uh, King Marthanda Verma got a dream, and in that dream, this small boy came in the Lord Krishna's avatar. He told that he has saved King Marthanda Verma because he has a different and difficult goal in life, for which he needs to be available. So that means there is a purpose for his life, King Marthanda Verma's life in this at that point of time, that is in the 17th century. Okay, so as I told you, the Dutch were expanding their business empire. They were doing all that. And how they're expanding their business empire? They're buying pepper, gold, diamonds, silk, cotton, other spices from Kerala, and all the other ports which I have shown earlier at a very cheap rate and selling it at a higher rate in European countries. Also, that is the time when they started slave trading as well. They used to buy people, kids, parents, or the old people at a very cheap rate, or sometimes they even used to take away people without giving any money and export them so that those people can work as laborers in the tea estates or the coffee estates or the sugar wheat fields across various countries like South Africa, Malaysia, West Indies, and all the places. Even today, if we see, there are certain Indian families whose origin dates back to Kerala or some other places within India from both West Indies as well as South Africa. isn't it? So, Marthanda Verma is really against the slave trading and also against the conversions. The Dutch people were also trying to convert most of the Hindus into Christianity. So, Marthanda Verma is opposing that as well. So, he thought the only way in which he can oppose all these things is by becoming regaining the supremacy over the entire Kerala region and by putting a stop for the Dutch trade dealings. So he told his maternal uncle to start forging alliances with Tanjavur kings and other local Tamil Nadu kings who are stronger than them, so that with their backup, he can start occupying the other small kingdoms within the Kerala region. So that is how he started growing his Travancore empire. And you can see that everywhere his political emblem conch symbol is being seen. How he started growing the occupying different kingdoms within the Kerala region. Okay, at that time during 17th century, the Dutch ruling person, representative from the Dutch East India Company is Gustav William van Imhoff from Netherlands. He was based out of Ceylon. He sent a strong message to our King Marthanda Verma saying that you better stop interfering in Dutch trade dealings and also stop expanding your kingdom. You be yourself and don't think of expanding or anything else. Imagine yourself in his shoes, King Marthanda Verma's shoes. Dutch is a very big business empire with a huge naval base, big set of army cadets, and they do have support of local kings as well. Whereas King Marthanda Verma has a very limited number of soldiers. He's not as big as Dutch, not even half of he doesn't even have half of their empire, not half of their wealth. So what can he do? But my dear friends, King Marthanda Verma never got scared. Can you imagine the reply he has sent to Dutch people? He has sent a very befitting reply to them saying like, unless you stop threatening me and stop attacking me, I will not keep quiet. The moment you step even a single foot into my kingdom, I'm going to attack Netherlands and occupy your country completely. Hearing this, a Major General Gustav just laughed out loudly, it seems, saying like, what a boy of 30 years caliber can do. He doesn't even have army, he doesn't even have money, he cannot do anything to me, he cannot even leave from Netherlands. But unfortunately, that was just overconfidence on our Major General Gustav's part, my dear friends. After a very big battle for 10 days, King Marthanda Verma defeated Dutch people by August 10th, 1741. And that is the time when Dutch started retreating from the Travancore area. In fact, what happened after this defeat, in their presence and their power across various different ports in India also started getting reduced day by day. Then slowly, British took over the Dutch people, and that's how we went under British Empire. Isn't it amazing, my dear friends? After this war is over, the war which was fought in the Kolachal area of the Travancore kingdom, King Marthanda Verma installed the victory pillar, and you can see that then and there itself they had written it very clearly in English, saying this pillar commemorates the victory of the Travancore army over the Dutch at Kolachal on 31st July 1741 AD. So, and you can see the conch as a symbol erected on top of this pillar. After that, King Marthanda Verma started consolidating his entire kingdom, and he started taking care of the education, health, everything in his kingdom. In fact, he had taken another second in major line, another major from the Dutch army as his prisoner, and he told that person that he will not hang him or he will not put him into prison, and if he agrees to one condition, then that person, that second in line major has agreed. when he and Marthanda Verma asked that person to train his train his army people in naval skills. And using new ammunition like gunpowder, guns, and other things. And in turn, he taught them all the Indian traditional vases like Kalaripayattu and other things. So it was a win-win situation for both these parties. And in fact, he is the first person who started building naval force for India in the 17th century. And imagine the way he was thinking his thoughts, how he was thinking, how much he was started thinking into the future. Because at that point of time, he knew that if Dutch could come to India through seas, tomorrow some other enemy can also come through seas. And that is why we should have a strong naval force who can avoid, who can kill all our enemies in the sea itself, and so that they will not step onto our motherland. And he started building his 9R battalion of soldiers, which is fondly called 9R battalion. And this battalion has, in fact, joined Madras regiment after India got independence. So, the skills what they had learned from 17th century got carried forward till 19th century, and then Madras regiment benefited a lot with all those new skills which Marthanda Verma taught his army people at that point of time. Later, and then he started ruling his kingdom in a very peaceful and amicable manner. And then the internal fights and the revolts, all these things in the Kerala region had gone on considerably. And Kerala became a happy area, happy state as what we are seeing today. Later, towards his retirement, King Marthanda Verma decided that he will become only the Dasa of Lord Anantha Padmanabha Swamy, and he is not the king who is going to rule the Travancore region. It's Anantha Padmanabha Swamy who is going to rule the entire kingdom, and through him. So he declared himself as Dasa of Anantha Padmanabha Swamy temple, and he gave all his kingdom wealth to Lord Anantha Padmanabha Swamy in a festival called Tirupadi Danam, which means from head to toe, whatever belongs to him, he'll be donating. You can see him how he is going to Lord in a very humble position. From that time onwards, all his people in his dynasty started living in a very humble and simple manner. Nobody started showcasing their richness or royal lifestyle, because they themselves, even till today, the Marthanda Verma's dynasty call themselves as Dasas of Lord Anantha Padmanabha Swamy, and they serve with very good heart and intent, devotion. So that is all, my dear friends, for today's story. I hope you enjoyed it. Now you know why Dutch had to leave from India, and why we went into Britishers' rule, isn't it? Had this King Marthanda Verma was not present, maybe it would have been under Dutch rule, and Britishers wouldn't have had a chance to rule us. We never know, right? Only the history needs to tell us what would have happened at that point of time, if that page of Marthanda Verma was not present in our history books. Anyways, that's all for today. I hope you enjoyed it. Stay tuned for another interesting story on the Rajadi Kamrit Mahotsav story series from Mami Show Music. Have a good day, friends. Bye bye.